This is your one and only ⴕ81 with your daily dose of video goodness, and welcome to Last Oasis. Today we're going to talk about tips for solo play. Let's get to it. One of the questions I get most when I'm streaming this game is it soloable? Can you play by yourself without being in a massive clan? And the answer is yes. I don't know how much enjoyment you're going to get out of it playing solo because it's going to be a little bit difficult to raid, although I guess you could find other solo players and attack them. But I feel like the biggest enjoyment from this game is going to come from the, large clan battles. But that's my personal opinion. Take that with a grain of salt. I know there's plenty of people out there who still want to solo, so we're going to talk about some tips for doing that. First thing is get the fully upgraded Spider Walker. As much upgrade as you can give it. Right now, I have it with most of the tier 2 upgrades. I'm still missing the hatch tier 2 and the armor tier 2. I have not upgraded it since I've been over to the medium zone to these two, but I'm going to do it soon. Make sure you have the armored legs for it unlocked as well so that they can take more of a beating and the whole thing overall can take a massive beating. If we take a look over here, they're relatively easy to get after you unlock it. So you unlock the spider itself, and then you come over here, you unlock the legs, and then unlock the tier 2 upgrades. Do it in that order. Get the legs first because the initial legs that it comes with are very spindly and flimsy, and you want the armored legs on it as quick as possible. When you place it down to build it, it's going to have the default legs on it. All you have to do is just go into the disassembling mode and then just remove the image of the legs. If you highlight over it, it'll say disassemble the legs, and then you can disassemble those legs, and then you'll go to your walker parts, grab the new legs, and they'll snap onto both sides. Okay, so you got your spider walker there and you're good to go, and you're like, but where do I put everything? Because I need my dinghy. You see everybody running around on a dinghy, and that's the second tip I have for you. Don't run around on a freaking dinghy. Do not run around on a dinghy with a bunch of stuff on the deck of it, because that just looks juicy and tasty to raiders. They're going to see you. They're going to see all your crafting stations on top. They're going to see your chests on top, and they're going to go, I wonder what's in that. And they're going to break it all open and find out. Ideally, what you want to do is use the spider walker for going out and collecting. If you take a look at this one, I have a bunch of stuff in its storage, and then we can go to pack structures. It can hold 3 structures, and I don't know why it's doing that now. It wasn't doing that before. It was originally just going straight to this, but now it wants to go to this rotate, you don't know how to place the thing, but that's beside the point. Anyway, so you go through your different structures here, and then you can just place all of them out. And you can also, you don't have to have the specific ones I have here. You can also just put 3 chests in it if you want to do that. Place the 3 chests out, fill them full of stuff, put the stuff back in your walker. Whichever you want to do, whether you want to do the chests or the crafting station, I like to go ahead and preemptively just start putting basic resources into next tier resources. So turning stuff, stuff into rope, turning stuff into fiber weave, but that's a personal preference. You can just as easily take the base resources, put them in the chests, and then repack up the chest. So you just go to pack the structures, and then same thing if you're doing that with chests, but it does add to the overall weight of your walker. If you take a look here right now, I'm overweight. Doesn't hinder you too much. You move a little bit slower, but it's not really that big of a deal. The other thing is the spider walker is super low profile and hard to spot from a distance. You'll be able to skirt around people pretty easily. Most of the time, people are looking for the large wings or the color from the wings, and these little spider walkers are pretty discreet. Now, I'm not saying you're never going to get raided in one of these, and we're going to talk about some stuff that you have to look out for here in a few minutes, but it is possible to get raided in one of these. It's just difficult, and you're not as likely to get raided. You're still going to have those people that are going to attack anything that moves no matter what, and they can attack this thing. It is a lot more difficult for them to board it. That's another bonus from this thing. If you are moving, as where with the dinghy, they can hit the wings with the grappling hook, swing up on it super quick and easy. This thing is much more difficult. If they're not beside of it when you take off and they try to grapple it, you're just going to drag them along the ground, as you see in the clips that I'm showing now. If somebody does manage to get on it, they can damage you. It's a little bit more difficult than other walkers, because if you don't get the proper just direct down strike onto the head, you end up clipping the legs and it screws up the attack, but you can be damaged while driving it. If somebody gets on it, keep that in mind. When you're out gathering, do not get too far from your walker. That's super important. You need to get back to it as quickly as possible, and you don't want to be running 2 miles to get to it. I wouldn't advise going any further than about this. That way, if you spot a walker in the distance, you can run up to it, get back in it super quick, and take off. The other thing is use your sprint wisely. Use it when you're going up a hill. When you go downhill, you pick up speed, but if you use it when you're going up a hill, it's going to help you get up a hill quicker, and this thing can handle hills a lot better than other walkers. Using that sprint's going to allow you to get a head start and possibly stay ahead of a walker that's chasing you if you do get chased. So you've been out gathering and you got the thing, it's full of resources and you're ready to unpack. Well, how do you go about doing that? Well, you leave your dinghy uploaded. Use your dinghy or whatever one you want to use as a base that can pack up a base. Use that as your uploaded base. Leave it uploaded. Only download it onto the map when you want to do crafting or when you want to unload resources. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your spider as close to the edge. Let's make sure we're going in the right direction here. Yep. Take it as close to the edge as you can. Now you're going to have to leave it for a minute, and it's a little risky, I know, but most people will go past it and they don't go around the edge very often, and they'll go past it and think it's abandoned. You should be okay. Once again, I'm not saying it'll never get broken into and attacked when you try to do something like this. You always take a risk, but it should be all right if you do what I'm about to show you. Then you can get off of your walker and you can just run to the edge. You don't have to be on your walker to run to the edge and log out. Then you're going to log out. Now what you're going to do is you're going to make sure you're still selected on the same area. Then you're going to swap to your dinghy or whatever you're using as your base, stiletto, dinghy, whatever. It doesn't matter, whichever one you want to use as your basically lobby base. I guess that's what we're going to call it. Make sure you're on it and then just log back in. Okay, so we've logged back in. We're coming out of an eclipse here. I want to get moving. I don't want to leave this thing too long, but you can see I logged back in relatively close. You can log back in as long as you log back in the same area. So I logged out at the top, logged back in at the top. You'll be anywhere along the top here. You just go back to wherever you parked it. So now we're just going to head back to it because you can see it on the map and it's super easy. So we're just going to take our dinghy and head in the direction of our spider walker. And the whole time I'm doing this, I'm keeping an eye out for other walkers to make sure that no one is coming up on me or following me or anything like that. We're close enough to the edge that if that was to happen, you just go back to the storm area or whatever it is where you hit L to log out, basically head back out of the map and log back out if you see anybody coming at you. And here we are. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pull up to it like this, and you want to stay where it says hit L to leave, because if anything happens, you can pack up and leave instantly. So then we're going to just pop off of this like that. We're going to pull this bad boy a little closer so that we can unpack it easily, and we'll be in the log out area. Okay, so now all we have to do is go up here, and first thing I'm going to do is jump up top here and look around to make sure that I don't see anybody. And if you notice, we're on the back side of a hill as well. So it kind of sucks because somebody could pop over the hill, but your chances of them spotting you running along the other side of the hill out there is pretty much none. They're not going to see you. Okay, so now that we know that we're safe, all I have to do is go over here to my packed base, and you can see that I can unpack my base in this area, and I do. And now all I have to do is just go in here, open the storage, grab whatever I want out of the walker, and start doing whatever I need to do on my base. I can start putting this stuff away, and it allows us to easily hoard all of our resources without any issue. If somebody comes up on us, all I have to do is run over here real quick, look at pack base, hit F, pack my base, jump up on here, use it, and then hit L. Really quick. If you see anybody coming along, that's all you have to do. Leave the spider walker there. They're probably not going to put forth the effort to get into the thing. It's going to be an absolute bear for them to get into and waste a ton of resources. If they do, then you're only out the resources that you just harvested and not your entire base. Okay, so you've unpacked your walker, you have everything in your base, and you've packed your base back up. Now all you have to do is just stand on your walker and hit escape. Go to transfer to lobby. You got to wait the 120 seconds. You could just stand on it and do L and then log back in without a walker, run back to your spider. But that's a pain in the butt, whichever you choose to do. I don't like to do that. I'd rather just log it to lobby like that. We can get back on here. And then we just wait patiently for our base to re-upload to the lobby. There it goes. It actually didn't do the whole 120 seconds. That's interesting. Okay, so there you go. That's it. That's all you have to do. Now, there's a few things to keep in mind when you're on this thing. Some we've already talked about. One, if somebody tries to grapple you, they can't really get onto your walker that way. However, if they run up to it, they can get on the legs. And then once they're on the legs, they can manage to hit you if they do a straight down strike from the back or the front. The other thing is being harpooned. If you get harpooned by any walker bigger than yours, they can easily drag you around, and if they roll the thing, it will actually pop you out of it. We just had somebody spawn in over there. I'm actually going to move along here, but they can easily drag you. And as you see here, we see that one that just spawned in there. We know it just spawned in because it's in its bubble, and we're just going to move along. And we're not too worried because we're close enough here that we can just log out. So I'm going to come over here so that I can quickly log out if need be, and we should be fine. We can still see their bubble. We can see when they start to move. So if you do get harpooned and they do roll you, it will kick you out of the walker. You can actually pull the harpoon out and get back in, but if you're being raided by multiple people, which if they're on a dinghy, they're probably going to be multiple people raiding you, you're kind of screwed. Your best option is just to give it up. Just let them have it. Also, while you are out gathering, try to spend most of your time in the thick treed green areas. So down in the crevices and stuff like that, it's going to be a lot easier for you to outrun larger walkers because you can dodge in and out of trees. They're going to hit the trees and it's going to slow them down. You can easily weave in and out of the trees in the spider walker and dodge them. People are also kind of scared of these spider walkers because they don't know if they're the ones with the ballista on the back of them or not. And the ballista ones are scary because if there's multiple of them, they can lock down a large walker and then you can raid the large walker. That's kind of one of the ways that you go about raiding the large walkers. So it scares people a little bit and they tend to avoid them. Also, you don't look very tasty in one of them. You don't have a bunch of chests, and the effort to get to the loot inside just really isn't worth it for most people. They'll kill you. They're probably fine with killing you, but getting into that walker is going to take way more effort than necessary for the little bit of loot that it may have in it. The other thing is try to avoid areas that are crowded. If we look at this one right now, you can see that it's crowded. So it would be a good idea to move on to this one over here where it's spacious. And then if this one gets crowded, move on to this one over here where it's spacious. Just always be on the move and never stay in a crowded tile. If you take a look here, you can see that this hard one is crowded as well, so I would not go there. I would wait until it opens up and it's spacious and then go to that zone if I need to farm resources over there. Being in a crowded area is going to just up your risk of somebody deciding that they want to attack you. You can see it just bought back to spacious there, so now it's safe again. But always just try to be on the move. Farm the resources. If it gets crowded, just move on. Keep a check on your map every now and then and see how many people are there. Okay, so that's pretty much all I have for you. I hope you found it helpful. If you have any questions about soloing, let me know down in the comments. I am in a clan, but we just spend a lot of our time just doing our own thing. So I do have a good bit of soloing experience. It is completely possible. I've had very little issues while soloing, and I'll do my best to answer any questions you have in the comments section. Okay, that is going to wrap it up for this episode. If you like what you saw, consider hitting that sub button. I want to give a big thank you to my patrons for making this episode possible. Y'all are absolutely amazing people. If you'd like to join my elite crew of Patreon supporters, please check out the link in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you're shy, you don't like to comment, just hit that thumbs up button and show your support. Until next time, thanks for watching.